Let's pick things up where we left off, shall we? Where did we leave off? We were about to reunite with Joseph. Oh boy. Who is happily married. John, perfect timing. Help me carry Hao-Chu's body into the crew cabin as well. Just want to do one thing. See if we can show this off. Alright.
等一等，
Wait a
这
second.
里有点不对劲。
Something here seems peculiar. Uh-oh.
沈大哥，你别吓我。
尸体有变化，被人动过。
Someone tampered with it.
头发，
Then they took the clip.
殷夫人的头发怎么变长了？
Oh.
殷夫人她该不会还没死吧？
The way that Madame Yin is still alive, right?
难道吴老爷说的是真的？
不会是鬼神作祟，
Supernatural are not involved.
但这究竟是怎么回事？
What exactly is going on? Eh?
是发簪，
You have the hairpin.
殷夫人的发簪被人偷走了。
Someone has stolen Madame Yin's hairpin. See, the easy answer is that her hair was... must be done up quite cleanly in a bun, or something.
所以她的头发才会散下来，
Yeah,
就像是变长了。
okay. Okay, this is not a mystery. It's a pretty clear answer then, okay. That's why your hair came loose. It looks like it grew longer.
发簪被谁偷走了吗？
Did somebody steal her hairpin?
你是失魂的，银柔这根发簪啊，有钱都买不着。
You know what's what, huh? Yinzhou's hairpin can't be bought with money.
打造他的银匠，可是在宫里当过差的，现在手艺都失传了。
The silversmith who made it used to work at the palace. That craftsmanship is lost, long lost now. Oops, sorry. I overheard that hairpin was exquisitely crafted. It could also have been an act of greed.
沈大哥，你说会不会是凶手偷的？
Mr. Shen, do you think the murderer stole it?
有这个可能。
That is a possibility.
若是凶手偷的，
The murderer
发簪
stole
上
it.
很可能藏有重要线索。
There may be an important clue hidden on the hairpin.
小娥，点亮灯，我们得仔细调查一下船员室。
I'll turn on the lights. We need to thoroughly investigate the crew
盗
cabin.
走发簪的人，也许会在屋内留下痕迹。
The person who stole the hairpin might have left traces within the room. Alright. Oops, sorry. I keep getting pulled away. Alright. Madame Yin's hairpin has been stolen. With her hair loose, the body seems a bit terrifying. Other than that, nothing else is out of place. Hao-Chu's body? There's nothing unusual about Hao-Chu's body. We had just moved him down here. Rubber bunk? There is no mess on the bunk at all. The bed is made perfectly neat and in order. Mr. Shen, this used to be Shipmaster Lowe's bunk. He gave it to me after I came aboard. Then how does the shipmaster usually rest? He stays in the wheelhouse. Lower bunk? The bedding on the lower bunk is wrinkled but tight. There are newspaper clippings on the wall. This is Uncle Ling's bunk. He enjoys reading the newspaper during his free time. The magic troupe faces crippling financial crisis. The Shanghai trip becomes Swan Song trip. Magic troupe. Again, that's the focus of the DLC that's coming down the line. Good reputation out the door. Commercial sea legends no more. Another strange case on the waters of the Lung King Temple. Escort ship gone missing. Let me record this, and Joseph might be interested in the contents of this newspaper clippings. Death of the tea merchant, Wu Aishan, missing escort ship. There's something under the pillow. It's a roughly made light yellow skirt, embroidered with several ducks. So this is what Uncle Ling's been secretly sewing for days. He wouldn't let us look at it. Old Ling seems like a rugged man. I did not expect him to know embroidery. Who could this meticulously sewn women's coat skirt be made for? I remember Uncle Ling had a daughter, but she passed away a few years ago. I heard the shipmaster say her death anniversary was soon. Maybe it was an offering for her. Oh, well, it's kind of sad. El, do these sodas belong to you? Actually, Lang Xin brought them on board. But I just absolutely love drinking cola water, so I made a deal with him. Where'd you get that? Every time I help Lang Xin watch the vegetables or do the dishes, he gives me a bottle. Oh. Oops, clicked off the way. Let's walk slowly, make sure I don't miss anything. Wrinkled paper. There are several scattered pages behind the ladder. They appear to be wrinkled. Drinking at night below deck I stayed. Waking at dawn, my work is delayed. If that's the state that has come to pass, why not just go pour another glass? An empty stomach saved last night's wine. Leaves me sad, so I cry and whine. You can't rhyme wine and wine like that. Boo. I'll spend all my money on booze. Tomorrow morning I'll still hit snooze. Is this poem written by Hao Chu? Yeah. That's an achievement, alright. Old Hao likes to write stuff like that when he's bored. I mean... It passes the test. It is in fact poetry. There are 2 empty wine jars and garbage on the bed. The pillow and bedding are also a mess. Without a doubt, this bunk belongs to Hao Shu. That is indeed old Hao's bunk. El, do you know the reason for his alcoholism? Old Hao liked to repeat this one nursery rhyme. The bride smiled brightly on her wedding day. The Loon King came and swept her away. The nursery rhyme? Cruel fate. This may have been something he personally experienced. No wonder old Hao always said this nursery rhyme was set up for him. Oof. This lower bunk is tighter than the upper bunk. It belongs to First Mate Wu. There's a map of the world drawn over with circles and dots hanging on the wall. Around the map are some posters and postcards depicting scenic spots from various regions. A few books including Around the World in 80 Days and The Travels of Marco Polo. Well, that pretty much tracks with what we know about him. Travels of Marco Polo primarily narrates the observations and experiences of the Italian explorer Marco Polo during his time in the Yuan dynasty. In addition, it also documents some aspects of the customs and cultures of other Asian countries. It is not only a representative work of world travel literature, but also opened the door for the closed Western world at the time to understand China. Oh, hello. Notebook. There's a notebook with a pen at the foot of the bed. The Travels of Liang. Of Liang is written on the title page with an illustration of a ship with wings. The notebook is filled with dense and scribbled handwriting. In 1957, Liang boarded a flapping wing airship named the Thunderous Dawn. In search of clues to evolve into the perfect man, he began his journey across the world. I didn't know Lang Xin was writing a novel. Huh? Mr. Shen, there are 2 pieces of paper inside. The first piece of paper reads Global Travel Plan and marks the route on a scribbled map. The second piece of paper roughly calculated the expenses of traveling across the globe. Mr. Shen, what does global travel mean? Why does it cost so much? Just borrow and read Mr. Lang Xin's book, Around the World in 80 Days, and you will know. Huh. Locked door. El, does this door lead to the stowage? It's the engine room. Uncle Ling says that machines are dangerous, so it's locked during work. Mr. Shen, did you discover any clues related to the person who stole the hairpin? As of now, there are no signs of any outsiders entering the crew cabin. All we have found are primarily traces of the crew's lives. Then could it be that... I heard it earlier in the dining hall as well. It's the sound of the engine telegraph. The shipmaster wants to adjust the ship's speed. It'll stop ringing once Uncle Ling handles it. Clang, clang, clang. Clang, clang, clang. Why is there yet to be any response? Uh-oh. Old Ling, are you inside? Please open the door. Uncle Ling, open the door! It's me, El! Something's not right. Let's break the door down and check it out. Oh, damn. Ah! Oh, shit! Oh, God! Mr. Shen, please! Please save Uncle Ling! He's lost so much blood! I am sorry, but he has breathed his last. How? How could this be? Ah, Uncle Ling! A third Mahjong card has appeared near Old Ling's body. 7 of characters. This is counting down. This is already the 3rd homicide that has occurred on this ship. What could it be? Why are they committing serial murder? How Chu was the first to die. A 9 of characters Mahjong card appeared next to him. Next was Madame Yin. She had the card 8 of characters. The 3rd was Old Ling. His card was 7 of characters. The Mahjong cards seem to be counting down. Are you jump scared? This clanging sound is really noisy, making it impossible to think. El, do you know how to turn off that noise? Yes, I do. We need to adjust the engine telegraph next to the steam cylinder. This should be the engine telegraph. This device seems quite complicated. Mr. Shen, the yellow indicator is pointing toward the speed the shipmaster wants. The pointer indicates dead slow ahead. Adjust the handle of the engine telegraph to the same position, then pull the top lever. Once that's done, the speed of the ship will be adjusted and the bell will stop ringing. Oh, alright. The earpiece and clanging is finally stopped. Now I need to carefully investigate the scene. Mr. Shen, how come you're the one adjusting the engine telegraph? Where's Old Ling? Shipmaster, Uncle Ling, he's dead. Oh. No one responded to the engine telegraph, so Mr. Joseph suggested me to come take a look. Alas. John, how's the situation on site? I have also just arrived at the scene. Then let's investigate together, shall we? The red circular valve is installed on the piping connected to the boiler. Seems like it adjusts the cylinder's airflow inflow and the steam turbine's rotation rate. There are meters on both sides of the valve. The pointers are vibrating slightly. The position of the valve is in a fully open state. The pointer also indicates maximum value. Air inflow of the steam turbine. Ah. I have a strange feeling about this steam valve. Nothing seems to be peculiar. Mr. Shen, only you could operate such a complex steam turbine properly. I do not deserve this praise, Shipmaster Lowe. What does this mean? No useful clues were found on the steam valve, but I have a strange feeling about it. Something seems peculiar about this. What could it be? Bottle of red wine is missing from my cabin. Other than that, no other items are missing. Ah, hey! Could it have been the work of the murderer? But why would he steal the red wine? let's not jump to conclusions. We should check out other places first. Jumping into my thoughts like that, what the heck? Shipmaster Lowe, there are still a few questions I would like to ask you. Don't hesitate to ask, Mr. Shen. Old Ling. Shipmaster, how did you and Old Ling get to know each other? Old Ling used to frequent this ship, and then he fell on hard times and stayed on board to work. Fell on hard times? I heard Lang Xin say that Old Ling used to be a guard for his family. When his daughter caught a strange disease, he left the woos in search of a cure. And after spending all of his money, he still lost the child. Oh shit. Thus are the trials and tribulations of being parents. Has Old Ling ever been on unfriendly terms with anyone? He's a martial artist. He must have made a few enemies back in the day when he traveled. Land. I can't think of anyone on this ship who would want to kill Old Ling. What is his relationship like with the other crew members on board? Old Ling's quite closed off. He doesn't talk much to anyone else except for Elle. I hired Elle to work in the engine room, but Old Ling wouldn't let her touch the steam engine. He only gave her simple jobs like working the engine telegraph, protecting her like his own. Oh. About Elle. Mr. Lowe, you said that Old Ling and Elle were like father and daughter. Yeah, Elle's been a child suffering from cruel fate. Her parents are both dead, and she was almost maimed for theft before Old Ling saved her. Oh shit. Old Ling believed she was a good kid after finding out she stole to pay back her parents' debt. He helped her pay off part of the debt and brought her on board to work on the ship. Elle also treasured their relationship and treated Old Ling well. And no wonder she's... Oh, I can go through to there, but I don't want to do that quite yet. That gear sure is rotating. A set of huge cogwheels powered by the steam engine are rotating rapidly. In the center of the ball gear is a transmission shaft connected to the paddle wheels outside. The body collapsed near the speaking tube. The lid of the speaking tube is closed. Autopsy time? There's a mahjong card placed next to the deceased. 7 of characters. The joints of his body are still flexible. Rigor mortis has yet to set in. There are signs of livor mortis on the legs, which fade in color when pressure is applied. Is the body already showing signs of livor mortis? Considering the high temperatures in this room, the decomposition process must have quickened. Taking together Old Ling's time of death is close to Madame Yin's. Oh, that's correct. The murderer killed 2 people in a short period of time without leaving excess traces. John, we've encountered quite the cunning opponent this time. That is indeed concerning. Hands? The deceased has rough hands. There are thick calluses on the joints of the back of his hand. It can be seen that he was once a martial arts practitioner. Makes sense. No defense wounds were found on the body of the deceased. Based on the surface features, there are no traces of drug influence. That's strange. Anyone would have dodged or fought back, not to mention he knew martial arts. Murder weapon pierced him through the heart, dealing him a fatal blow. The position and angle of the stabbing are consistent with Madame Yin's case. It's obviously the same murderer, but the weapon has changed from a candlestick to a hairpin. The murder weapon is a hairpin with a green jade inlaid at the end. John, I recall Madame Yin wore a hairpin identical in design. Yes. I had just discovered Madame Yin's hairpin was stolen, yet now it has appeared here. The murderer must have had a special reason to use this hairpin as a murder weapon. At the same time as Madame Yin's, but... How is it the same time as Madame Yin's? But, something doesn't add up there. Time of death around the same time as Madame Yin, but, and yet Madame Yin's hairpin was used. And yet when we found Madame Yin's body, she had her hairpin. Compared to, like, did we move her immediately and then someone immediately took the hairpin? And killed Old Ling? Curious. Compared to Madame Yin and Hao Shu, Old Ling's facial expression is relatively peaceful. The corners of his mouth are even slightly raised. Huh? John, what's the matter? My brother, his expression before he died, the corners of his mouth were also raised. Could it be? Could it be that? That's just your imagination, John. After death, the facial muscles of the deceased are flaccid, meaning they are expressionless. When a sharp blade pierces the heart and causes a rupture, the victim dies instantly. This calm expression is just a result of muscular flaccidity after death. This case has nothing to do with Brian's case, and there are still homicides taking place. What you need to do now is put your nose to the grindstone and your shoulders to the wheel. Yes, you're right. Whoo-wee. To make an Ace Attorney comparison, this feels like a 3-day case. If we're talking in terms of complexity. Like, yeah, the first 3 chapters feel like 2-day cases. We have our initial investigation, our initial conclusions, and then continued investigation, and then reveal the truth. This is a much more complicated case. Well, there are a few questions I would like to ask you about Old Ling. Ask away, Mr. Shen. What was Old Ling's relationship like with Hao Shu? One was reserved while the other had no inhibitions at all. So bad. While they worked together, they rarely talked to one another. Who do you think would want to end their lives? I don't know about old Hao. I'm sure that family had something to do with Uncle Ling. Do you mean the Woos? Mr. Shen, you still remember the newspaper clippings on Uncle Ling's wall, right? He seemed to be really concerned with how the Woos were doing lately. And apparently he used to have dealings with the Woos. Oops, sorry. John, please check your pockets.
我刚在我的口袋里找到了这个。
I just found this in mine.
我身上有一张号码。
I have a two of characters mahjong card on me. Whoa! I'm sure you've already noticed the relation between the mahjong cards and the Order of Death. These cards symbolize provocations from the murderer. Every person who received a card has now become their prey. What should we do now? We must not sit idly by for death to dawn upon us. Shipmaster Lowe, please gather everyone at the dining hall immediately. Drop anchor. You were gathered in the dining hall where Shen recounted what just happened. John has already introduced the situation of the 3 homicide cases. The 9, 8, and 7 of characters appeared next to the 3 victims respectively. Earlier, John and I found mahjong cards, the 2 and 3 of characters, in our pockets. These cards are most likely a countdown for the culprit's murder plan. I would like to ask you all to see if you have any cards on your person. What the? How did this card appear out of nowhere? 6! 6 of characters! Wouldn't that mean that I'm the next target? I have a card too. It's the 5 of characters. No, don't kill Elle. She's a sweetheart. Don't hurt her. My card is the 4 of characters. Mine is the 1 of characters. Going by order, it seems like I'm the last one. Suspicious. Here's all the missing character. Mahjong cards are here. Afu? Wait a second. How come all of you have cards, but I don't? Who knows? Isn't it because you're the one who placed them? Uh-oh. I don't have a card on me either. They're torturing me by making me watch as my passengers and crew are killed one by one. Listen up, you murderer. If you want revenge, just come after me. Ah, trapped in water. Nails in coffins. This wasn't done by man. It's the Lung King. The Lung King is after our lives. Lung King. The Lung King isn't after father's inheritance, though, right, Taeman? Lengxin, you. Why would you say that? Ah, are you possessed by something? Everyone, please, calm down. Supernatural aren't behind this, but a serial homicide has indeed taken place on this ship. I think it's Lengxin. For your own safety, please remain in the dining hall and assist our search for the culprit. Mr. Joseph, before you begin, we need to make sure that you are trustworthy. Shipmaster, Mr. Joseph is the new prosecutor of the Shanghai International Settlement. Nobody is more trustworthy than he is. Lengxin, I know Mr. Joseph quite well. However, I understand your concerns, Shipmaster. How about this? I will organize discussions and entrust John with the task of deductions. Throughout this evening, John and I, as well as Mr. Wu Taeman, have been in this dining hall. Shipmaster, I can also prove that Mr. Shen is a good person. Mr. Shen and Mr. Joseph have helped clear me of my suspicion, so I approve too. There. Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Joseph, Mr. Shen, how do you two plan to find the murderer? The assassination technique and wounds of old Ling and Madame Yin are exactly the same. It should be the work of the same murderer. Although Hao Shu's cause of death differs, a mahjong card was also discovered next to him. In cases where consecutive crimes have been committed, time is the most crucial information. Therefore, we need to confirm the alibis of everyone here. What's an alibi? Mr. Shen, what is an alibi? Called it. Any evidence that proves you were not present at the time of the crime. Due to the relatively confirmed times of death of Madame Yin and old Ling, I would like each of you to respectively state where you were, what you did, and evidence proving so during these 2 time periods. John and I will judge whether everyone has an alibi or not based on their statements. What if someone lies? If someone lies, there will be a contradiction between the testimonies to reveal who is lying. Ooh, this is interesting. If there are no further questions, let's begin with Madame Yin's case. Last time we all saw Madame Yin was in this dining hall. Soon afterwards, she left the dining hall alone and returned to her cabin to rest. Then the power outage took place, causing a food to trip over Madame Yin's body. Finally, power was restored. Miss Yin Chu discovered the body and cried for help. Now, I'd like everyone to talk about what you've been through from after Madame Yin left the dining hall to when power was restored. Group testimony. Experiences during Madame Yin's murder. Oh, I like this aesthetic already. I told Mr. Shen that before the power went out, I met with Yin Zhu once. My chest felt stuffy after the game, so I went back to my room to take my asthma medicine. Correct? Then, Yin Zhou asked me to teach her poker, but I refused because I wasn't feeling well. Is there anyone who can testify to what you said? Yes, there is. A Fu came by, saying he wanted to take some tool out from his cabinet. After Fu left, I went to the bow of the ship for some air. Lengxin can testify for me. I felt better after a while. Then as I was about to return to my cabin, the power went out. It was really dark. I was alone and scared. So I went to the cockpit to find Lengxin. When power was restored, Lengxin escorted me back to my room and we found Yin Zhu. Very well. Next, please. For the power outage, I was preparing dinner in the dining hall until Elle came back. I brought Konji to the shipmaster in Elle's place, then spoke with Yin-Chu when I saw her. After I went back to the cockpit, I took over the helm for a bit, then the power went out. Because Taemon had essentially goaded Elle into... cornered Elle and goaded her into taking him to the shipmaster. Which left Wu to deliver the, Konji himself. And take over himself. I returned back to the cockpit, I took over the helm for a bit, then the power went out. I was going to check it out, but Yin-Chu came. She seemed scared, so I stayed with her instead. That is pretty much like what Yin-Chu said, except I chased after a Fu. It's hard not to suspect it when he looks so flustered, right? Very well. Next, Mr. Liu. Mr. Wu. What's there for me to say? I was at the dining hall before and after the power outage. You two both know about that already. Next. I don't know when Madame Yin left the dining hall. Before the power outage, I was at the helm. During which Elle came by and Lang Xin brought me Konji. After the power outage, Miss Yin-Chu came. She looked quite scared. Okay, so you two were here together. She was in the cockpit until the power was restored. Then Lang Xin escorted her back to her room. And next... I was working the dining hall, then Uncle Ling asked me to help in the engine room. Interesting. What did he need your help with? He asked me to lend a hand while he repaired the joint at the time of the condenser of the steam engine. Please continue. After that, Uncle Ling told me to look for old Hao. I couldn't find him anywhere. And the shipmaster made me get his Konji, so I went back to the dining hall. Huh? Oh, don't tell me it was you. And then on I was with Mr. Joseph and Mr. Shen the whole time. Alright, last but not least, a Fu. Is it finally my turn to speak? I've been waiting to speak so badly. Seems like a Fu's tongue isn't that sharp yet. Huh? Can you all understand my testimony? Speak slowly. I will listen carefully. I was experimenting with my new invention, a vacuum glove box. I needed a vernier caliper, but it's in Madame Yin's room, so I went to get it. Remember, Madame Yin was smiling while holding poker cards. Yin-Chu looked unhappy. After getting what I needed, I went back to experimenting. Suddenly, the power went out. I messed up and got my hand stuck, so I had to go get more tools from that room. Did you leave right away, or did you stay in your room for a while? I guess right away. I had a kerosene lamp close by, so I picked it up and left. I just walked out the door when I saw a figure run out of that room towards the bow. Did you get a good look at who that person was?
Huh?
It was too foggy. All I could be sure of was that I saw a figure. I didn't think too much about it and went inside. You all know what happened after. Very well, everyone's testimonies just now were extremely detailed. Now I'll leave it to John. But, gentlemen, the way I see it, everyone here has that alibi that you speak of. No, there is a contradiction between one of the first 5 testimonies and that of a Fu's. Vernier caliper is a commonly used measuring instrument in industry, which can be used to measure the width, depth, etc. of workpieces. The minimum reading is only 0.02 millimeters, making it a very precise measuring tool. The oldest known existing caliper in the world can be traced back to the year 9 AD, during the Xin Dynasty under Emperor Wang Mang. The structure of this caliper is very similar to that of modern vernier calipers. Alright. Inquiry. Find the contradiction. do we make of this? Yunzhe went Afu. What the bow the ship with some air. So this lines up with Yunchu's testimony. So figuring out for sure, figuring out from Madame Yun's room toward the bow. Do we confront? Out of the cockpit, L came by once. Langshin took over the... Took a link with the pairs, looked for old Hao, talked with the shipmaster, returned to the dining hall to fetch Konji. I really hope it's not her. I really hope it's not her. Because her testimony contradicts with, shipmasters. Even not necessarily contradicts, but... L came by once, Langshin came... See, I don't think we can confront her testimony yet. I think this is the obvious one? A Fu statement. Contradicts that of Miss Yunchu's. Mine?
Huh?
Are you Shane? Did I said something wrong? During the power outage, a Fu saw a figure run from Madame Yin's room toward the bow. And yet even though you were at the bow, Miss Yunchu, you did not see anyone. Maybe because it was too dark and foggy. That's why I didn't see them. It could be her. It's a wooden deck. If someone ran toward the bow, you would have heard footsteps. Did you hear any, Miss Yunchu? Maybe. That's the case. Yunchu, you're sounding a little guilty. I was too scared at the time, so I didn't notice. Gentlemen, I know what's going on. Go on then.
Huh?
Actually, there is a detail I forgot to share. You're 20, you're 25. You're 34, you're 40. Yeah, very diverse family. I figure I sure left Madame Yin's room and went inside another room. Maybe Yinshu didn't see them because they hid inside Mr. Joseph's room. Oh. Mr. Shen, didn't you notice someone break into your room to steal something? Could it be the murder? That could be possible. However, only a bottle of red wine is missing. Wonder why the murderer would steal it. Anything about wine? Guangzhou currency. It's okay if we can't draw the conclusion for now. Let's begin the second round of inquiry. Last time we all saw Lo Ling was also in this dining hall. Not long ago, John discovered that he had been stabbed to death in the engine room. The weapon that killed him was the hairpin Yinju wore on her head. A lot of pausing this video, sorry about that. Since the hairpin had yet to be stolen during investigations of Madame Yin's murder scene, preliminary assessment shows that old Ling's time of death was shortly after Madame Yin's. Now I'd like everyone to talk about what you've been through after leaving Madame Yin's murder scene. Round 2. After the incident, Lang Xin brought Fu and me back to the cabin to rest. Our food didn't seem well, so I brought some pastries and cleaned the blood off his hands. I spent some time trying to remove the box from Fu's hand. Not long after Mr. Shen and Elle arrived. After Mr. Shen left, Fu and I stayed put until Shipmaster Lo assembled us. I mean, Elle can't be responsible for old Ling. Very well, next please. And there's no reason for Elle to go after Yinju. After I helped Yinju and Fu settle down, I reported to the shipmaster at the cockpit. My dread has been averted temporarily. I am suspicious of you, Langxin. But there's nothing in your testimony that seems to be off. Mr. Shen and Elle came to investigate. We all saw Hao Chu's body fall down. I took over the helm while the shipmaster went out to assess the situation. You were alone in the cockpit for so long. Is there anyone who can prove it? Isn't the fact that the ship didn't overturn and feed you to the Lung King the best proof? Nah. Pshaw. You can't say that word on a ship. It's bad luck. Bad luck, I tell you. That ship has sailed, son. Which word? Overturn? You. Why'd you say it again? Take it back, or else it's a bad omen. Oh, a different bad omen. Alright. Enough. Mr. Wu Taiman, it's your turn to testify. Gentlemen, there's nothing for you to say, right? What? Feeling guilty? Guilty? Huh, your big brother is the least guilty person on this ship. Ever since I left this room, I've been reciting scriptures on deck to keep the ship safe. Everyone on board has seen and understands my hard work and dedication, except for you, Langxin. That's enough. Next, I'm done with your shit, old man. While you were investigating Madame Yin's death, I was at the helm. After Hao Shu's body fell, I realized we were in danger and asked Lang Xin to take over. Mr. Shen and Mr. Joseph were examining Hao Chu's body. I was by their side. Then Mr. Joseph asked many questions about Hao Chu and made me bring him to the cockpit. When no one responded to the engine room telegraph, we went to the engine room together. When we arrived, Mr. Shen and Elle were already there. Very well, next please. I've been with Mr. Shen the entire time. You pretty much went to every single place on this ship. Alright, now the last one. Fu. After leaving the murder scene, I was resting inside the room. It was super quiet. I was feeling dizzy and wanted to sleep. But someone kept reciting scriptures. It wasn't that loud, but it was so annoying. Thank goodness Yinju took care of me and helped me take the vacuum glove box off. Then the detective came, fixed my tongue, and told us not to go outside. Very well. Now, everyone has provided new statements. Mr. Shen, is there anything wrong with the statements this time? Not everyone has explained everything they've been through fully. One person's description does not match the situation I saw during the investigations. that's correct. Like, I don't think we can really question anything there. So the advanced power outage, power restored. We don't really have any log after that. I have no clue what this means. Unless we're gonna say that you were, collected offerings from somewhere. Yeah, it has to be it. The person who did not explain everything fully was you, Mr. Teman. Now, Master Wu, you said you were praying for blessings on the deck the entire time, but... Mr. Shen and I didn't see you on the deck when we headed toward the cockpit. Oh, that's true. A lot of preparation is needed to be done to pray to the Lung King for blessings. All the different gods needed different offerings. There's no point in explaining it to you. I was busy with this and that on the deck. Maybe we missed each other. If Wu Taiman was on the deck the entire time, what does the appearance of this item mean? On the deck the entire time. What does the appearance of this item mean? Mr. Teman, have you ever noticed that a copper coin is missing from your sword? Oh, I didn't. This copper coin must have helped me dodge a bullet. Coincidentally, I found the missing copper coin, and I've returned it to you. You have my thanks. What's more coincidental is that I found it inside my cabin. Mr. Teman, how do you explain this? Well, that's... Ooh, it was you. Teman, you're not the murderer that a Fu saw enter Mr. Shen's room, are you? Wu Langxin, you ungrateful brat. Don't you sling mud at me. Remember the copper coin was still on your sword when we investigated Madame Yin's room. The candlestick! A candlestick moved on its own. The Lung King's after our lives. At the moment, I believe that you were not the person a Fu saw. However, about you sneaking into my room, need a reasonable explanation from you. Ah! After Yin Zhu's incident, I did go to Mr. Shen's room, but I only did it for the safety of everyone on board. A Taoist priest told me that we needed to prepare 6 bags of pork for the Lung King. But there wasn't enough on this ship, so I had no choice but to mix in some pig ears and snout. I didn't want to risk angering the Lone King, so I borrowed the wine from your cabin. To be honest, I needed top-quality aged wine. Using this foreign wine made me nervous. Where are these offerings now? I split them into 3 yin and 3 yang bags and threw them all one by one into the river. What? You threw all the pork I stored into the water. And my red Bordeaux. How much did those things cost? I will pay you. I was going to tell you, but you all seem so busy. I don't think I have the money for that. Wutemon should be telling the truth now. I saw him throw the offerings into the water. 1 bag to suppress the demons. Yep. 1 bag to remove ill fortune. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. Here's an ample portion of pork, along with some pig ear and snout to pay our respects. If you choose to accept it, please clear away the bad omens in this water. If Wutemon is telling the truth, then a contradiction exists in this statement. Inju died, went to Shen's cabin, to borrow wine off the Lone King. This is really making me think. So... is it a foo? Who heard the scriptures the whole time? Afu, did you hear anything else besides the sound of someone reciting scriptures?
Huh?
Nothing else? Then you heard it through a talking tube? That sound alone was enough to make me dizzy. Then someone else was reciting scriptures through a talking tube that you could hear? Are you sure? I'm sure. If you were so focused on the noise outside your door, you must have also heard the sound of Mr. Wu tossing the bags of offerings and his shouting. 1 bag to remove ill fortune. Those sounds should have been more raucous.
Huh?
That's true. However, I really didn't hear the sounds that you speak of, Detective. Afu, how could this be? Maybe it was because I fell asleep? According to Afu's description, he must have fallen into unconsciousness due to vasovagal syncope. Afu, your testimony won't be taken into consideration. This is crucial information. John, you know what this means. Afu was unconscious. Oh, within the time Madame Yen and Old Ling were murdered, someone is unable to provide a reliable alibi. Yin Chu. Well, damn. This person who was unable to provide a reliable alibi during 2 critical time frames is you, Miss Yin Chu. Yin Chu? Mr. Shen, could you two be mistaken? How could my sister possibly be the murderer? If Afu was unconscious, this means that he cannot provide an alibi for Miss Yin Chu. When Madame Yin was murdered, Miss Yin Chu said that she was alone at the bow of the ship. Other than her brief encounter with Mr. Lang Xin, no one can prove it. Does that mean everyone else is innocent? John, please tell us how you came to this conclusion. Given the murderer's consistent modus operandi, especially the recurring mahjong cards, you can confirm that it is the same perpetrator committing these serial crimes. Oh! Major premise, the same murderer commits the crimes in succession. Confirming the alibis. Oh boy. We can rule out several suspects. In our choose case, we cannot rule out anyone, because too many details are unconfirmed, correct? It feels like each case so far, they keep shaking up the formula in ways that keep me off guard, and it's really exciting. Whoa, 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 so much moving around. Everyone's moving. Madame Yun was killed after she left the dining hall and before Fu entered the room. You can rule out Wu Taiman, Joseph Bell, Shen Chungbing remained in the dining room. Due to vasovagal syncope and other reasons, Fu has been proven innocent. Old Ling was murdered after Madame Yun's body was moved and before I entered the engine room. You can rule out Elle, who was with me the whole time, thank goodness, and Wu Langxin, who was at the helm. As well as Shipmaster Lo, who was with Langxin half the time and Joseph the other half. The only person who cannot be ruled out is Yun Chu. Yun Chu? You're not possessed by the Lord King, are you? No, it wasn't me. I promise. I stayed inside the cabin the whole time. The sound of offerings being tossed into the water, I heard it. Why didn't you say that? Why didn't you testify to that earlier then? Miss Yun Chu, I must remind you. Hearing the sound of offerings falling into the water cannot prove you were in the room. You could also hear that sound from outside the room. Then what? What should I do? There's no need to be overly nervous. Carefully recall the people, places, and things that can provide you with an alibi. Okay. Please provide a more detailed account of your experiences before and after the power outage. My chest felt stuffy after the game, so I hurried back to my room to take my asthma medicine. Then Yin Zhou came, asking me to teach her poker. But I refused since I wasn't feeling well. We were talking when a Fu came by, saying he wanted to get a tool. According to Fu, he said you looked unhappy. What happened? That was because Yin Zhou messed up my suitcase, so I was upset. I understand. Please continue. I'd like more details about that, but maybe we'll get that later. After Fu left, I went to the bow of the ship for some air. Ran into Langxin on his way to bring the shipmaster Konji, and we spoke a few words. I felt better after a while, then I was about to return to my cabin. The power went out. I was alone and scared, so I went to the cockpit to find Langxin. Miss Yun Chu, on the bow to the cockpit, are you sure you did not meet anyone? I didn't notice. It was really dark. Not a single spark of light. All I wanted was to find Langxin. Thankfully, he was in the cockpit with the shipmaster. A contradiction exists between Miss Yun Chu's description and this piece of evidence. This feels like an easy enough contradiction this time. Dark without a single spark of light. Miss Yun Chu, are you sure the surroundings were pitch black? Yes, I'm sure. You did not see a single spark of light at all. Yes, not a single spark. That is unreasonable. A Fu was holding a kerosene lamp on the deck, and you were facing toward him. How could you have not seen a single spark of light? But I really didn't see any light. Mr. Joseph, Mr. Shen, my sister has always been afraid of the dark. If she really saw light back then, she wouldn't have been so scared. Maybe she entered the cockpit at a different time than Fu leaving his room. Both Fu and Miss Yin Chu changed their courses of action right after the power outage. I guess right away I had a kerosene lamp close by, so I picked it up and left. When the power went out, I was scared and went to find Lang Xin in the cockpit. But it's impossible for them to act at the exact same time, right? A slight time difference doesn't invalidate John's theory. Eyes are sensitive to light in darkness. Heavy fog tonight. The moon and the stars are hidden by clouds. After the power outage, Fu's kerosene lamp should have been the only source of light on deck. In this case, Miss Yin Chu would have noticed the light when the lamp was inside the room. Then Fu must be lying. I believe Yin Chu isn't lying. But what I said is also truth. Fu says he walked out with the lamp and saw someone running toward the bow. Yet Miss Yun Chu said she didn't see anyone or any light on her way to the cockpit. Could it be possible that they are both telling the truth? This seems like the most likely option. If Yin Chu had her back toward Fu and her face toward the bow of the ship, she would be unable to see the light behind her. Then she did not go to the cockpit from the bow, but instead from Madame Yin's room. The person Fu saw was Yin Chu. Miss Yin Chu, you left from Madame Yin's room instead of the bow to go to the cockpit. That is why you did not notice the light from the kerosene lamp behind you. After you ran into Lang Xin, there was a long period of time where you did not have an alibi. You lied and said that you stayed at the bow, when in fact you returned to your cabin. It is very likely that you murdered Madame Yin during this time frame. No, that's not true. Mr. Shen, did Fu say he saw the murderer entering your room? Yin Chu came to the cockpit. With all the fog of the night, Fu could not tell which room Yin Chu actually entered.
Huh?
That's true. Mr. Wu Taimon breaking into my room to steal wine was after Madame Yin's incident. Other than that, there were no traces of a second person breaking in. Even if the person Fu saw was Yin Chu, that doesn't mean she's the murderer. Maybe all she did was go back to her room. If Yin Chu was not the murderer, upon her return, she would... Discover the body, obviously. After Yin Chu left the room, Fu entered right after, finding Madame Yin dead. If Yin Chu was not the murderer, she must have already discovered the body. Why did she choose not to tell Shipmaster Lo and Lang Xin immediately? Busted. Miss Yin Chu, what's the meaning of this? Did you already discover the body before you came to the cockpit? Why are you stuttering? I don't know what to say. Master Wu, stop scaring Yin Chu. She's speechless. Detective, I don't think Yin Chu is a bad person. You say that she's the murderer, then she needs a motive, right? Why would she murder her own sister-in-law? Speaking of motives, I'm afraid it is related to this item left at the crime scene. This is Yin Chu's suitcase. She deliberately closed it before leaving the cabin. Thus it can be seen that the belongings in the suitcase are very important to her. So what does Yin Chu care about the inside of this suitcase? Alright. God, it's been a while since we've, investigated this. Money, cards. What was the Mahjong card? We didn't really give much weight to the Mahjong card in here. I did say that... This might be wrong. There's an indentation here. Something has been taken away. I'm gonna save here, because I think this might be wrong. It's a perfume bottle on the table. We've investigated this before. Allow me to reconsider. Yes? This object does not seem relevant. Aye! What is this? Aye! Aye! Once I say, let's game over. Hey! John, crucial evidence was right under your nose. Fortunately, you missed the boat and dropped the ball. What do you consider? I believe I'm already close to the truth. Good. Let's bobble like a cork and fall into a rut. F in the chat. Despite his efforts, Shen Junping couldn't uncover the truth, and another murder occurred soon after. Failed! Poker cards. What the devil is this? Is it really the poker cards? Shit, it is the poker cards. Alright. Alright. Well, I'm gonna reload after the fact, and we'll deal with this then.